Hello, welcome back to Aniplane. Today I will tell you about a new fantasy anime called The Black Summoner. The story begins with a young man named Kelvin who has just been reincarnated into a new world. He died by mistake of a god, so he was allowed to choose the skills he would have in his new life. Kelvin wakes up with no idea where he is. A menu appears welcoming him into the new world. He pushes the start button and hears a voice that begins to welcome him. It tells him that he has been reincarnated into a fantasy world and his memories have been wiped, a condition he had agreed to for more powerful skills. Walden is shocked why his past self would agree to have his memories erased. The status window opens showing the skills he had chosen. He has a summoning skill that's rank and an ability to get double the stats from leveling up. Seeing his skills, Kelvin gets excited to start his adventure. The voice tells him to head to the nearby town and register at the guild to be an adventurer. Along his way, Kelvin asks the menu if it will be joining him on his adventure. Remembering that he had his memories wiped, it reveals that is actually the goddess of reincarnation Melfina, who he fell in love with and asked to be his servant, and she accepted his request as a way to take a vacation from her job. Kelvin is confused how he could love her without his memories. He asks if he can summon her, but she tells him he needs to become stronger and have more mana before he can. He arrives at the Adventurers Guild and registers as a basic mage, keeping his summoner skill a secret. As Melfina explains, summoners are so rare that kings would start wars to acquire him. He starts off in the lowest F rank and the clerk explains that you can only take missions up to one rank higher than your own and can move up a rank if you complete 10 missions in a row. He takes his first job to slay some blue slimes. He picks up a wooden rod which helps to boost his magic ability and heads to the fields. He comes across 3 slimes. Melfina tells him to try out his other S-rank skill, Appraising Eye. It allows him to see all the slime stats. At this rank he can see the stats of anyone. To 100 levels above him, Melfina tells him he can tame the slime if he can injure. At first, Kelvin attacks using his rod instead of magic, so he doesn't kill it in one shot. To his surprise, the slimes are more challenging than expected, but eventually he is able to land a hit on it, weakening it enough for him to tame it. The taming is successful and he names it Clotho. He summons it, and it seems to have gained a personality as it jumps up and down together with Cloth, though they take on some more slimes. Kelvin uses his one magic, taking out a slime in one head, and Clotho runs circles around and crushes the other. Kelvin notices that Clotho is much stronger since becoming his summon. Mel Phoenix explains that his rank summoner skill gives his servants a bonus 100 to all staffs. She also tells him he is the only S-rank summoner in this world, with others only at B or C rank. Kelvin returns to the town and looks for an inn to spend the night. Along the way he sees an elf locked in a cage. He is disturbed to find slavery as common in this world, but tries not to think about it. He gets a room at the inn and enjoys his first meal in the world. Kelvin starts grinding, leveling up and learning new skills. He learns the concealment skill, which allows him to hide his stats and summoner skill from others. Clotho was even able to evolve into a gigantic gluttonous slime. A week later, Kelvin is already promoted up to E rank. He is drawing attention to himself, completing his mission solo and getting promoted so quickly. At rank adventurer Kashel introduces himself. He has a reputation around the guild for crushing new adventurers. He proposes that Kelvin join his party on a deer and hunt for a black ghost knight. With his appraisal skill, Kelvin sees that Kashel has a murderer title. Instead of joining him, he suggests they compete to see who can kill the monster. First, Kushal leaves and joins up with his criminal party members Gimel and Raj. They plot to murder Kelvin at a ruined castle. Kashel and his party arrive. They're shocked to find that all the monsters are already dead. Kelvin appears and tells them that he has seen through their scheme. They challenges them to a fight. He makes fun of Raj who charges straight at him. He falls into a trap which Kelvin has hidden with his concealment skill. Raj gets stuck and begins to sink. Kelvin attacks with his wind magic and Gimel makes a run for it. However, Clotho blocks his exit and chases him back in. Clotho takes Shimmel out with a single hit and binds Raj. Kushal charges at Kelvin but is also easily beaten up. They confess to hunting new players for experience, and Kelvin ties them up and turn them in. After Kelvin continues his hunt, he comes across the monster and asks it to join his party. It turns out his name is Gerard and he's surprisingly nice, like an old uncle. He even giving Kelvin some candy. Gerard explains he was once a human knight, but became a black ghost after he died. Before he can agree to join Kelvin, he must first see his strength. They have a duel and Gerard is able to block all of Clotho's attacks. Gerard slashes back at Kelvin, which he barely dodges. As Clotho continues to attack, Kelvin uses his air magic to bind Gerard's movements. Gerard remembers his purpose. He wants revenge on elf named Gildora, who destroyed the kingdom he served and led to the death of his wife and daughter. With this memory, Gerard breaks free from Kelvin's magic and charges at him. Kelvin binds him once again and Clotho fires a huge beam attack at Gerard. The next day, Kelvin supplies a piece of Gerard's armor's proof he completed the job. Everyone in the guild is amazed at his accomplishment at the guild. Kelvin runs into Leo, the guild master. He is shocked when Leo asks if he is from another world. Kelvin realizes Leo's appraisal skill is stronger than his concealment skill, so he can see all his stats and skills in the guild master's room. Kelvin has no choice but to admit to being a summoner. He confronts Leo about why he did nothing about Michelle, and Leo admits he knew. Michelle was a murderer, but because he was a noble of the Tricep Nation, he needed to get proof, so he is grateful to Kelvin for dealing with him. Getting to the point of the conversation, Leo expresses his desire to become friends with Kelvin, noting he's met otherworlders in the past, such as the heroes of the Holy Empire. Doremus Melfina notes that she was the one who reincarnated them, and promises to tell Kelvin more. Later, Leo continues his explanation about the heroes of Doremus, claiming that the priest is therefore hold of the revival of the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord's influence has caused all other monsters to become stronger and more aggressive. Seeing that Kelvin already possesses the skills of an S-ranked adventurer, Leo asks him to protect the town in the stead of the heroes. They come to an agreement after Leo offers him a number of incentives, like increasing his rank and assistance on missions afterward. Back at the end, the innkeeper, Claire, congratulates him for reaching the rank, enjoying his lunch. In his room, Kelvin asks Melfina about the heroes of Doremus. She tells him that 1 year ago, the priestess of the Doremus Empire performed a summoning ritual, so she reincarnated other people and had chosen them due to their good looks and knowledge. After hearing this, Kelvin retrieves his reward money from Clotho, whom he has been using for storage. Thanks to this gluttonous ability, he heads off to the alleyway where the slaves are being sold. He tells Gerard he plans to train a slave to become his rear guard to boost his parties. Strength. Upon reaching the alleyway, there is a man on fire. Kelvin spots the half-elf that he saw from the other day. The slave trader reveals nobody wishes to purchase her because she is cursed and will burn anyone that touches her. With his appraisal skill, Kelvin sees that she is cursed by the Fire Dragon King. He learns from Melfina that the only way to remove this would be an air-ranked white magic spell called Sacred Bless. Kelvin leaves as the elf watches him. Later, Kelvin returns and offers to buy the elf. The slave trader is confused why he would want to curse that slave, but he gives him when Kelvin hands him a bag of gold. As they head back to the inn, the elf introduces herself as Aphil and thanks Kelvin for buying her. When Kelvin approaches her, she backs away, scared to hurt him with her curse. Kelvin casts Sacred Bless on her and breaks the curse, finally being able to touch someone for the first time. Aphil breaks down and cries. In gratitude to Kelvin, they return to the inn and Aphil is taken under the wing of Claire. Aphil is dressed up in a man's outfit and they enjoy dinner together. After that, Kelvin reveals his secrets to her, telling her that he is a summoner and introducing her to Gerard and Clotho. He helps her with allocating her skill points and lets her choose to let her learn to make her own decisions. At night, however, they are forced to share a bed, causing Kelvin to experience a sleepless night. 1 month later, Aphil has become a deadly archer by combining the Dragon King's blessing in archery. She has created her own original skill at the guild. Angie, the guild secretary, congratulates them on another successful mission. Angie has become friends with Aphil and tells her about a new dessert cafe in town. They decide to go check it out, and Aphil invites Kelvin to join them. The next day, the three meet up and Kelvin is stunned by how cute the field looks. They head to the cafe and Kelvin becomes embarrassed when Aphil tries to feed him. Everyone watches them, jealous that Kelvin is on a date with 2 girls. Suddenly their table is knocked over. The third prince of Treason, Tabura, and his two guards interrupt. The prince arrogantly sends his guards to grab Enji and Afil, so Kelvin beats them up and sends them flying. Kelvin binds him with his magic and forces him to explain his business. Tabira admits he came to hire a rumored strong adventurer to boost his poor reputation. Kelvin reveals he is the adventurer and refuses to Burn's offer. Meanwhile, Melfina visits the Temple of Doremus. She appears before Coletti Oracle, who shows her how the heroes have been progressing. Melfina imparts a prophecy, ordering the heroes to deal with an evil in the west and to stay away from Parth, where Kelvin is staying. Melfina leaves just as the heroes arrive and Colette informs them of their new mission back at the end. His heel asks if Kelvin finds her attractive. Kelvin becomes flustered and Itfield tells him she loves him. Kelvin reassures her, but resists his desire as she is still a slave and he feels he would be taking advantage. The next day, Melfina shows Kelvin the stats of the heroes of Doremus. Kelvin is not impressed, seeing that they are only around level 50 after a whole year. Melfina is also disappointed in them and sees that Kelvin has already almost surpassed them, clearing erupts, telling them that the guild has called for them. Kelvin meets with Leo, who tells him that a sealed demon was discovered in a hidden room of a dungeon. Melfina tells him that demons are among the most powerful beings in this world. Leo mentions the trouble he caused by attacking the Trison Prince, and Kelvin quickly accepts the mission. Kelvin and his party head into the dungeon. They head through the cave and come to the hidden room. As they enter, they find the sealed demon, but there is a second demon who introduces itself as Victor, the archdemon. Kelvin asks about the sealed demon, and Victor reveals she is the daughter of the most recently defeated demon lord. She was sealed by a magic that only a human can break. Victor hopes that by eating Kelvin he will gain the human ability to break the seal, and then he will eat the girl to become the next demon lord himself. Victor blocks the exit and charges at them, which Gerard manages to block. Kelvin tries to restrain his movements, but Victor easily breaks free. Kelvin begins smiling and Gerard reveals to Afil. Kelvin has an unfortunate habit. He is a bull junkie. The more powerful his opponents, the more excited he becomes. But that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to know what happened next, like and subscribe on ePlane YouTube channel. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.